Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I see y'all coming up in the room already on this Tuesday morning. It is March 19th, 2024, and you are tuning in live here at 7:25 a.m. to News in Motion. If you're catching the replay, whether it be in the afternoon, the evening, or in the nighttime, we just want to say thank you for tuning in to News in Motion. If this is your first time tuning in to News in Motion, we just want to say welcome. News in Motion is a news media outlet with relevant commentary and call to action. We could be found on LinkedIn, YouTube, and on any audio or podcast platforms. Today, y'all, be sure that y'all go out and vote, especially if you're in Columbus, Ohio. Please make sure that you go out and vote. I did so before I headed to work. It doesn't take long, but be sure to pay attention to each issue and each candidate on the ballot. Whatever ballot you're voting from, be sure to pay attention to those small details because they're going to put some things in there that you might not notice, but they could come into play in the long run. I see you, Miss Deborah Johnson, tuning in through YouTube. Good morning, Miss Regina Shorts. Good morning, Miss Sardinia. And good morning, Miss Heather Crabtree, just to name a few of our viewers popping in today. Good morning, Miss Debbie Sneed. Miss Deborah Sneed, how are you doing today? We also have Super Tuesday with a lot of headline news and information about voting. We will have a couple links in the chat for you as well, so that way you can have access to them, and also encourage your young people to vote as well, especially if they're of age. They may not think it's a big deal, but their vote and their voice matters. Their vote and their voice matters. So without further delay, let's get right into it, y'all. Well, we're going to do that after this brief intro.
News in Motion.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. I see you all rolling up in here, and it's just so exciting to do that. I'm also looking at those of you who are coming in on podcast and audio. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Remember, keep your eyes on the road. Keep your eyes on the road. Y'all, it is spring. Hello, spring. It is spring. I'm wishing that we have a joyful spring. I pray that the right weather comes and all these tornadoes stay away. I see you, Dave. You're rolling up in here. Good morning to you. Y'all, it is That's Happening Tuesday. We have a lot of news, but before we get there on this spring morning, I see my brother coming in here, and Dr. Antoinette. Good morning to you. I want to give a quick reminder, and then we have some information from the mailroom. Reminder, we will be here this week. We will be here this week, and then we will take a 2-week break. The one first week leading up to Easter week, and then the week right after Easter. So those are the only 2 weeks we are taking off. We need just a little break. I was going to push all the way through, but then I was reminded that I'm free. And in that freedom, I did not want to take away from my meditation, my quietness that I always honor during those weeks leading up to Easter and then the week after Easter. So in case you need the dates, there will be no News in Motion the week of March the 25th and the week of April 1st. We will return on Tuesday, April the 9th, but we're here the next couple of days. I see you, Latrice Jones, coming in here. What's up, Marion Jackson? All right, y'all, a couple of things from the mailroom. Please pay attention. We have been receiving several emails. Dr. Antoinette says, I have my book. I'm so happy. I'll get to that in a moment. We have received several emails asking if we're going to be focusing on the voting. Some of the emails are like, yes, please just focus on that. People are learning. We need to know. Then we've had a few emails where people are saying, let me know if you're talking about voting from now until November because I won't be tuning in. Then you won't be tuning in. And guess what? That is okay. That is okay. We are focusing on voting. We will mix in other news. And of course, we'll have our inspirational message, but we will connect the dots. We will connect the dots that will bring us back to voting, civic engagement, advocacy, etc. That's who we are. That's what we do. And we get it. If this is not for you, we understand. But make sure you are following some sort of news that you trust It is okay to do that. Marion Jackson says she has her book as well. Latrice Jones says, y'all see those inspired books all over social media. Y'all, it has really warmed my heart. It has warmed my heart. I'm getting to that in a moment. All right, something else from the newsroom. And we want to share this information with you all. We understand if you are not in business and in social media, digital media, you may not know that this happens. But I'm going to just let you in on a little something so that you can stop sending a message and we know it's not true. And that is, we are no longer sending out separate PDF, digital downloads, etc., that we share on News in Motion. Those we mentioned will be in the Friday rundown as we share. We're mentioning it on the Friday rundown. And I'm smiling at all of y'all. Thank y'all so much. But hold on, I'll get to the books in a moment. To subscribe, you can go to gaildudley.com and then you just subscribe. A pop-up box will pop up. You just put in your name and your email address, and that's it. Then you are registered. It's a free e-newsletter, and it has all types of great information in there. That's it. Now, we know when you unsubscribe because we get an email that says, and I'm going to use this as an example only, we'll get an email that says Latrice Jones has unsubscribed. It's just letting us know that it's something that's already built into the email system. It's the platform we're using, and every email platform does the same thing. So if Latrice Jones pops up with an email or pops up into our DMs and say, hey, can I get that PDF that you were speaking of this week? And I know that Latrice Jones unsubscribed, and they say, well, I'm a subscriber. We're just going to ignore it. We're not going to write you back. We're not going to send you the PDF. We're just going to ignore it. So we just want you to know that. But listen, we get it that so many of you, I get 3,000-4,000 emails a day. I understand. We're inundated with emails. So just scroll through. If it's nothing you want that we mentioned on News in Motion that day, just hit delete. That way you'll stay in the system. But it's up to you. But listen, y'all, I get, again, 3,000-4,000 emails a day. And I don't necessarily unsubscribe to them because that's my way of blessing their business, and that's free and it helps with the algorithm. But you decide, you choose. But no, we're no longer sending out separate PDFs because either you choose not to subscribe or you decided to unsubscribe. We're not going to do that. Now to the books. I see the list. Pastor Alex said, I have my book. Deborah says, yes, I got my book. Shardinia has her book. I think, Deborah Sneed has her book. Dr. Antoinette, Lori, Latrice, y'all are getting these. And it just makes my heart happy. So please post your selfie or post the book on your coffee table or whatever. Tag me on both Facebook and Instagram if you have Instagram. I just love seeing it. I literally started crying yesterday. I mean, it's just amazing just to see these books arriving the way they are and realizing it took longer to get these books out because of the issue we had in 2022. So I'm just so excited. I had someone share with me yesterday. They called me and they said, I went to bed, got into bed about 11:30. This was on, I guess, Sunday night. And I just picked up the book and I started reading the book, and I didn't go right to sleep. And I said, well, did you read one? And they were like, no, I read like about 19 of them. I said, that's not what it's about. They're like, but I could not put it down. Then the person told me, they said, and I don't write in books. I said, there's lines in the book for you to write after each devotional. And they said, no, so can you please do a journal of some sort? But I find out from emails, I have several of you asking for that. So we'll see what we're going to do with that. But I'm so excited. I'm so excited that you all are getting your books. Now, with that being said, I have no control over the United States Postal Service, zero control. The books were sent media mail, anywhere from $6 to $10.11, depending upon where you live. Now, each book is in a box. And if you ordered more than one book, then you got 2, 3, 4 boxes. And there's a few of you who did order more than one. And I took my time, y'all. I signed each one, personalized them. Y'all saw the packaging. The packaging was phenomenal. Y'all saw it put in that nice white box. And when you open it up, stuff kind of like flies out. So if you did order more than one, and let's say you only received one of them or you received 2 and you're waiting for one more, I have no idea. So we just got to give the United States Postal Service time to get them out. Yeah, they were a few hundred that I dropped off all at the same time. We have received, I was trying to see how many. We have received 7 books back already. Either the zip code was wrong or the address was wrong, which means all we did was print it off what you put in the system. So maybe you did something wrong. So we have now sent emails asking for your correct address. So yours is going to be delayed. Now we have a pastor who received her book in Zimbabwe. I have no idea how she got that book that fast, but she didn't. Of course, hers cost a whole lot more to ship. So she did. And there's people in the city which I live, you're still waiting for your sale. Just be patient. Now, I say if you don't have it by maybe Saturday, because they all went out at the same time. If you do not have yours by Saturday, send us an email and we will figure out. Well, we have tracking. We'll figure out where it is. So just wanted to let you know that. So please post your selfies. Again, Facebook. Tag me, tag me, tag me. That's my Gail Dudley, not the News in Motion, the Gail Dudley, or on Instagram. We would love that. Now that we have that out the way, Lori Williams says, Lori Williams Wallace, excuse me. The personal message was fantastic. Thank you. That took it over the top. Listen, as I shared with you all before, I prayed about each book. I prayed about each name, and I waited for God to give me the message before I sent you the message. Now, books going forward, the ones we will cut off this Friday. Davey, I got your order. You know, you're going to get a personal message. I was laughing at you too, Davey. I was like, now, girl, you could have called me up and said, hey, I want a book. And I would have driven it around the corner. And I was like, look at Davia. But okay, you're going to get your book. I'm going to ship it in the box and everything, just like everyone else's. But if you order past this Friday, it will just be signed, or there'll be no more personalized messages. But if you live in Central Ohio, or you just want to come hang out with us, mark your calendars for May the 4th. We're going to have conversation, a reading, and a signing about the book. And it will be at Kennedy Cakes, which is going to be downtown Columbus, Ohio. Stay tuned. We'll get the invitations and all that information out to you. Davia says, following the process. I know, girl, but come on. I was like, and I did talk about you. I told my husband, I said, look at Davia. And we just kind of laughed. And I said, that's Davia, though. That's Davia. And Davia, I need to know if you're available on May 4th, if you're in town. And I see you, Crystal. Crystal says, well, I can go to Davia's and pick up the book. Listen, I was kind of like laughing because now it's the real pricing. And I was like, Davia, come on, I could have done this another way. All right, y'all, now that all that is out the way, primaries today, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Kansas, and Ohio. I'll be going as soon as the broadcast is over today. Again, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Kansas, and Ohio. We will put the schedule back in the Friday rundown this Friday, and this is the schedule going forward. You may see some past dates, but this is the schedule going forward all the way to November the 5th. If you are not a subscriber, remember you can subscribe today free by going to gaildudley.com. The pop-up box will pop up. We'll put your name and your email address on, and you'll be on the list. Go get your sample ballot by visiting www.ballotpedia.org, www.ballotpedia.org. And as Isaiah said so in the beginning, if you're in Ohio, we know there's a lot on there. I printed out my sample ballot just the other day just to see what's on there, trying to help people navigate it. Now, listen, y'all are spoiled. And I did it, so I'll take responsibility for it. But y'all are spoiled. My phone was ringing at 6:40 this morning, talking about, girl, I'm at the booth. Now, Tim, I cannot tell you how to vote. What's wrong? It's illegal for you to be on the phone at the voting booth. You're not supposed to do that. They can't confiscate your phone. They can't. They can tell you can't vote. So y'all, please don't do that. Please go and get your sample ballot. What's up, Kim Edmondson? Kim Edmondson, aren't you at the polls? Good morning, Kim Edmondson. But listen. That's illegal. So some of you were calling me this morning. I'm like, y'all are spoiled. But remember, just go to sample ballot, see what's out there, do your research. And today is kind of too late to do your research, but hey, do what you can. All right, y'all, Council on Foreign Affairs, this is what's happening. France 24 is reporting that Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said today at the opening day of the third summit of democracy, this was on yesterday, in Seoul, South Korea, the State Department released a roadmap for how people can get better assistance called the flood of information manipulation. Say that real fast, right? While 6 nations, including South Korea, signed on to a commitment to ensure spyware technology is used in a way that is consistent with human rights. So they're really keying in on this information manipulation, and they're talking about the flood of even images that are coming forward. So I still have my thing with AI. Yes, I'm learning how to use it. Yes, I've gone out there before to check some things, and yes, I've gone out there to check and see, okay, edit this for me, or I'm gonna send it to my editor, or whatever that looks like. You just have to be careful. Seriously, I purposely put something out there the other day after reading this particular article on Trump. I just put something out there. Yeah, there was misinformation out there on him. And I thought, this is not okay. I don't care who it is. This is not okay. So we have to be mindful. We have to do our due diligence, and we have to take our time and do our research. Yes, people say that's no different than what we've been doing with Google. Yeah, it's kind of a little different. So you have to just navigate it, use it, learn it, understand it, but don't let it do the work for you. Your thoughts, put it out there. Now, here's the flip side to that. And I think I shared this with you all about a month ago. I put something out there just to see something, and all of a sudden it was out there. And I was like, but it wasn't marked that it was my stuff. I got a problem with that. So that's why I believe we shared here on News in Motion how the Times, New York Times, some other people are suing AI, GPT, because of them using information as training modules without their permission. So be mindful and be careful with all of that. Be careful. Now, on the south side of Korea, on the north side, North Korea fired multiple short-range ballistic missiles during Secretary of State's visit. I was like, is that a warning or what? Yeah, this is all popping off. This is all happening. They were thought to be the first such launches in around a month. His visit, including meeting with both South Korea's president and foreign minister, they were expected to discuss North Korea's nuclear threat. Now Blinken is traveling to the Philippines. So y'all got the south side of Korea and the north side of Korea. So north side was like, you over there, we're going to do some test missiles. So that's happening. Y'all, Afghanistan, Pakistan exchange border fire. Yeah, this happened. Bloomberg is reporting Afghanistan's military struck Pakistani military posts along the country's shared border following Pakistani airstrike that killed 8 people in eastern Afghanistan on yesterday. The Afghan strike were thought to be the first such counterattack since the Taliban took over in 2021. So be mindful of that. Latrice, every time I read these things, I hear you back in October when you shared some things in the chat. Yeah, now Times of India reports, y'all know I haven't given Council on Foreign Affairs in a while, so I thought I'd put it out there. India national elections will begin on April the 19th and unfold in 7 phases. I thought, wow, what kind of voting is this? With the results to be declared on June the 4th, election authorities announced over the weekend. So it was really interesting. So I did open that up because I was just really intrigued, like, why does it take so long? And what do you do? And what happens? The many steps they have in place, they're phenomenal. So if I can pull out, not promising you, but if I can pull all that together, I'm going to add that in the Friday rundown as well, because it's like, wow, this is what they do and how many times they vote and all the steps they take to get a secure voting. The New York Times is reporting that Palestinian territories, around 200 tons of food provided by the charity World Central Kitchen, reached the Gaza Strip. This is out of the New York Times over the weekend, the first seaborne aid to do so in nearly 2 decades. It comes as Washington prepares plans for temporary floating pier off the Gaza coast, which people don't think that's even going to work. We'll see. We'll stay tuned for that. And then in Financial Times, they're reporting that the Western leader says, now, not that this should surprise any of us, that Putin's reelection violated civic and political rights. Yeah, right. We know that already. Yeah, the Russian election authority says that President Vladimir Putin won the country's presidential election with a record of 87% of the vote, according to near completed results. The EU was among Western bodies to condemn the electoral conditions, saying the vote occurred amid systemic internal repression and raising violations of civic and political rights. Well, y'all knew that already, right? But I just I'll put it out there. Let's see. Crystal says, "What is the most effective way to check for validity of what? Your vetting. Talking about vetting sources. Um, Now, and we did something on this. What I'll do, I'll put it in the Friday rundown. It's a whole vetting sheet. I will put that in the Friday rundown. But if you see, you got to notice if it's satire or not. And then let's say, let me see. Let me give a good example. I don't know. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I'll put it in the Friday rundown. But you have to double check your sources. You can also do fact check, factcheck.org. It's a nonpartisan platform that's always fact checking things. They're doing it actually in real time, but they keep all their information out there. But that's a great question. If something just seems like, I don't know if that's right. Like, let's say, here's a good example. Let's say, well, uh, 104 senators. Well, we should know there's not 104. It's 50-50, or it's 100 total. And then it determines how many are on each side of the aisle if you're independent. So if somebody says, well, there were 104 senators, well, that ain't right. But it also means that we need to understand the facts of how many senators and how many House of Representatives. So if you get that there's 439 House of Representatives, no, there's only 435. So something like that is misinformation, or they put a name out there and you're like, I never heard of that name. And you go and Google that name and you find, well, they're not a senator or they're not a congressperson, So there's key words out there that you have to be mindful to, but I will put the vetting piece in the Friday rundown. So it gives you an idea. It's like a 1-page PDF. So I'll make sure I put that in there as well. Bloomberg is reporting out of Cuba, rare anti-government protests broke out. On Sunday, amid blackouts and food shortages on the island. So, y'all, there's a food shortage on the island and protests broke out. Cuba recently hiked gasoline and diesel prices by more than 400% amid a severe economic slump. Why am I sharing with you all these? Y'all, all these things are connected. You cannot separate these things. They're all connected. They're all connected. So it's always important to know about what's happening in your land, but to also see what's happening in the land around us as well. Y'all, the Washington Post. Now, I'm going to try real hard not to laugh or to gloat or to say anything crazy, because I guess it could happen to me, but I don't have those kind of millions anyway. So I guess I can say what I'm going to say. And I don't want to come off jealous or, anything like that or whatever. But listen, he doesn't have $450 million to pay his bond. He doesn't. So it kind of like sends the question, well, do you really have any money at all? Like, what is this all a front? Like, what's really happening? So the Washington Post was the first to report with this headline: Trump can't secure a bond to cover his $450 million plus business fraud judgment, his lawyers say. Yes, I dug into a little bit more. Former President Donald Trump has been unable to finance an appeal bond for at least $450 million to cover a judgment. He can't. His attorney said in the court filing, but AG Leticia James was like, okay, give me that building over there. She going for it. She going for whatever she can go for. Now, I told you I get his emails, right? So I get his emails. I got an email yesterday after he put that out there. His attorneys put it out there. He was like, do y'all love me? I said, is this really? I mean, the email was nothing but manipulation. I need your help. You should not be using the RNC, the GOP, whatever initials you want to put on them to raise money for your bond money. You can't do that. That's illegal. Why isn't anybody dealing with this? So he put that out there and he gave this sad thing. He's like, get a gold card for me today. If you would just contribute $1, there's how many millions of you out here? I'm like, this was the email. I was like, wow, this is what's happening. So y'all, Buttercup attorneys claim that Trump has been unable to secure a full bond for $454 million judgment in New York civil fraud case, citing rejection from 30 underwriters over bonds large size. He has until March 25th. It's coming. It's coming. You got till March 25th. So we're going to have to see what's happening. Fred Jones says Trump dry begging. Listen, he was begging in that email. Begging in that email. And for the record, people have asked my opinion about this. And yes, I did get through that entire speech in Dayton. And people are saying that the Democrats are just putting out there. He said it's going to be a bloodbath. Well, he did say that. And yes, at that point, he was talking about the automakers, but you understand why and how he uses words. He was just throwing words out there. He was not making sense. He wasn't coherent most of the speech, but he was very clear. And if y'all go Google it, sit down, watch the whole thing, take notes. The way he said it will be a bloodbath, and he connected that to being elected as president while he was talking about the UAW and car dealers and car makers and so forth. So I wanted to make sure I said it here so I didn't have to keep putting it out there. So now it's recorded. Y'all can keep playing it over and over again to hear and understand what I said. Yes, he did use those words, and we need to pay attention. And yes, he did say it while talking about, around, above, underneath, whichever way he was going around the automaker. So make of it what you want, but don't ignore it. I'll say that for sure. But y'all, he doesn't have the money. And AG Letitia James says she will come after his stuff. What are some of you saying? Dr. Antoinette said, get a payday loan. That's what she said. Kim Edmondson says, good one, Dr. Antoinette. Dr. Antoinette also said a pawn shop. Mary Jackson said, so the former guy is soliciting money for help. Fred Jones says, we have to connect the dots. We have to connect the dots. So we cannot sit here and say, oh, he didn't mean that. He meant what he said. Okay, he means what he says. So pay attention. Don't forget January the 6th. All right, y'all, the Supreme Court appears to be leaning on rejecting the efforts by the GOP-led states to limit the White House contacts with social media platforms. A majority of the U.S. Supreme Court justices appeared skeptical during an argument. It was really crazy. Y'all, I'm gonna just jump down to what the main judge said. Chief Justice John G. Roberts Jr. kind of like laughed. He said, no experience coercing anybody. And then the whole room started laughing. Really? Y'all can listen to the audios. Those are out there as well. But y'all, bottom line is they're trying to get the White House not to be able to have conversation with social media. They're trying to get Congress not to have conversation with social media because they want to continue the misinformation and the disinformation. Understand where that's coming from. I'm glad to know that the Supreme Court justices are saying, we're not dealing with this. You're like taking up our time. We're really not going to do this with you all. Justice Sotomayor said, I have such a problem with your brief, counselor. You omit. And this is when you know what you know and you read what you read and you make sure you connect all the dots. Her quote goes on to say, you omit information that changes the context of some of your claims. You attribute things to people who it didn't happen to. She goes on to say, I don't know what to make of all of this. So she called them on the carpet without stuttering. She did. And y'all can look at all that too. I may pull that out, and put that in the Friday rundown as well. I'm trying to balance it so you're not getting too much heaviness from the Friday rundown. But this is what's happening, y'all. This is front page news. A lot of people aren't talking about it, and something else a lot of people aren't talking about, and I'm going to talk about it right here on News in Motion. The former Vice President Pence will not endorse Donald J. Trump for president. I don't know why that's not on the front page news everywhere, but he will not. That's the first time. The first time, as far back as I was able to find, the first time that a vice president is not endorsing a former sitting president. There's that. So he's not. And that you're talking about conservative values. They put Mike Pence as that person with conservative values, which speaks highly of the party. So for him not to endorse Buttercup says something, and people need to pay attention even to that. They need to pay attention to that. Something else a lot of people aren't talking about, given the truth. Fani Willis is still on the case. Now, her former lover, whatever you want to call him, I don't know what you want to call him. That's how they're called. That's how she called him. Resigned last week after the judge made his announcement. I didn't like everything the judge had to say because he wanted to kind of like undress her about her relationship and about when she went to the church and gave a speech, and she should not have done that. Well, she could do the speech, but she should not have said what she said. Sit down. Really, because if this was a white male that we were talking about, and I'm just saying what I'm saying right here on News in Motion, I can, because this is my platform, I pay for it right here. But if this was a white male, you wouldn't have said any of those things. You would have just said, you wouldn't even have said that somebody had to resign. You'd been like, no, it's all right. This isn't lining up, so just keep on doing what you're doing. That's what you would have said. Or you wouldn't even have had a hearing in the first place. You would have just ignored it, dismissed it, whatever. That's really what's happening here. So let me give the front page news right here. She's still on the case. She's not scared. No. Now, y'all know what I thought, and I'll say it again. They're watching us. They're watching you. So we kind of got to do things a little bit different. You survived this one, and I'm glad you did, and you have every right, and you deserve this win. But just be mindful going forward. Honey, do your due diligence. Check everything out about them. If you like them, don't like them till after it's over, like way after it's over. But go ahead and do your thing, girl. Congratulations. I think you are thebomb.com. Some of you are saying, I don't know what y'all saying. Heather says, it is honestly no wonder our young people don't have any faith in the system and don't want to vote. I know several young people who did not want to vote in different states last week. I know one personally, and I was like, okay. But they went and voted. I just had to keep I had to keep my lips sealed. Like I can't fight this. I don't know how to do it. But that means we have to do something on our end before vote day. We have several months now to get our young people to the polls, Yes, Kim Edmondson, young people are fed up with the process. Yes. Donita, good morning to you, says that judge was wrong in his statement. Very wrong. He was just trying to say something. He was trying to save face. He was trying to be the white man, all that kind of stuff. Sit down somewhere. Sit down. For everybody who's interested, NCAA men's basketball tournament kicks off tonight with first four matchup in Dayton, Ohio, and Howard University would be one of those teams. Y'all, if you care about this, and I thought this was kind of sad, Joann Fabrics retailer filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy amid reduced consumer spending, and this is Associated Press reporting this. Joann's more than 800 stores and its websites will continue to operate normally during their bankruptcy process, but vendors, landlords, and other trade creditors should also not see any paid disruptions, the company said. In addition to their filing on Monday, the U.S. bankruptcy court, Joann Fabrics said it had received about $132 million in new financing and expected to reduce its balance sheet funded debt by about $505 million. What's up, Devontae? Good morning to you. That was a whole lot of that's happening Tuesday, wouldn't y'all say? Again, books are starting to roll out. Please take a selfie and post it on Facebook, my page, not the News in Motion page, my page. And then also if you have Instagram, post it there and tag me on both of those as well. I would really appreciate that. Don't forget, we're here this week, and then we're off the week leading up to Easter and then the week after Easter. We wanted to make sure we got that out there to all of you. And yes, we're going to be talking voting and connecting all the dots. We understand you may not be hanging out with us because you don't want to hear it. We got it. We hear you. We understand. But make sure you are following some news source to get the information you need. You just cannot ignore that. Primaries today, Arizona, Florida, Illinois, Kansas, and Ohio. Before I get to the inspirational message, Latrice Jones says, even though the young people are fed up, we can't let them withdraw their voice from the political process. I absolutely agree with you 100%. Yeah, we were trying to get this image up there before we came on air, and we could not. That's what took us a little long to get up here. Isaiah and I was trying to get this image up here. On yesterday, I should have been at the White House. I received an invitation for their Women's History Month event with Dr. Jill Biden. I received it on Saturday and had to figure out a turnaround to get there. We wanted to put the invitation up there. Hopefully we'll have it today. Get it up there so we can post it up there for you kids so that you all can see it tomorrow. That's what we are here at News in Motion, where we're getting invitations such as that. The reason I did not go, some of you are probably, why didn't you go? Well, I was not in the mental state of mind to drive 8 hours. I was like, I can't do that. And then when I looked at the tickets, I was like, why are airline tickets $1,000 to go to Washington, D.C.? Or I would have had to stop 3 times. Or, when I looked at the whole hotel thing, when I added the budget up, hotel, Uber, air transportation, all of those things, and to do it rather quickly, we were talking almost $3,000. And I said, yeah, but no. So I just want y'all to know that's where we are today, where people are reaching out to us. So what I've decided to do, and I'm asking y'all's prayer for this as I go into the inspirational message. What I decided to do is I'm going to send Dr. Jill Biden, that's where the invitation came from. I'm going to send Dr. Jill Biden a book called Inspire. Yeah, I'm gonna put a little inscription in there for her, and then I'm going to, like I did in my email reply, my regrets for not being able to make it, my thanks for the invitation, and then I'm going to ask. I'm gonna be real bold. It says make bold moves. That's what I say every day, right? I'm gonna be real bold and make a bold ask and say, but I would love to come to the prayer breakfast in June and see what happens. So that's gonna be happening. I'm gonna send that, but that's why we did not go on yesterday. I was like, no, it's not weighing out too much. And they do invitations at the last minute on purpose. That's what they do. So it also just kind of reminded me I need to build back up the travel budget so that we can do those things at a drop of a hat, and then having the advisory team help make decisions where we should go and where we should not go. Dr. Antoinette says, we have not because we ask not. You are so right about that. And so we're going to keep building. So, buying this book will help, because prophets are going to things to do things for News in Motion. So buying the books, y'all, you're going into Easter. Y'all know y'all still do Easter baskets. Buy a book. They will be on Amazon later this week. I wanted to get all these other books out and make sure that you're receiving them. So Amazon, the books will be on Amazon, but when you buy books, it will help us to do the travel budget. Or if you want to sow your own gift so that we can do that. You can still send checks to Making a Difference LLC. Isaiah, if you have that address for Making a Difference, please put that up. If not, we'll make sure we get that out there to you. So the inspirational message, Proverbs chapter 24, verse 6. And this is the second part of that, where it says, for victory, one needs many advisors. That jumped out at me yesterday. And that's why we're going to, we have the young people as a part of the advisory team, but we're going to build that up a little bit more. We want to build that up a little bit more. So again, if you want to send a check, you can make that out to Making a Difference LLC. And I believe Isaiah is looking for that now. Now, the entire verse says, for waging war, you need guidance. And for victory, many advisors. Now, we're talking about wisdom today, y'all. This is wisdom. Be wise. Be wise that you're not making decisions all by yourself. Now, if you are in your prayer closet and you know good and well that God has told you to do something, say something, then yes, that's what you follow. But there are times that we have to have advisors just to sit down and have conversation with, to talk. Like, for example, a friend of mine said on Saturday when I got the invitation, they said, well, why don't you just ask some people to ride with you? Or why don't you see, maybe somebody wants to drive. Maybe they enjoy driving. Maybe they want to drive and take you. And they were saying to me that I need to put it out there. And I agree with that. And I have to do better with that. They were like, who knows? Maybe, like, girl, people in DC, maybe you can stay with somebody. Like, stop saying no just because of what you see in front of you, which is true. If you have advisors, they can help guide you with some of these things. So I know I have to do better with that. And my inspirational message to inspire you today is for victory, one needs many advisors. Have many advisors. We're going to exercise wisdom, keeping up with what we've been sharing. Prayer focus today, as we're going into Easter. Prayer focus today are for these individual people. everyone's advisors, everyone's right hand people, that we are advising them to do, to be open to receive, to have conversation. So advisors rise up. Advisors, these are the Nimrods of the Bible. Y'all know who Nimrod is? Google it, you'll see. Nimrods of the Bible. To have that person who you can talk to and they can speak life to you, and they can give you direction, they can give you information, they can give you instruction, they can build you up, they can lift you up, they can say, I don't think you should do that, or they're like, come on, let's find a way to do this or do that. To be able to have those connections. So make sure you are surrounding with yourself with people who will help you do the right things, who will speak into your ear and give you the instruction that you need. We cannot ignore those individual people. All right, Deborah Sneed is saying, you are inspiring naturally. So for you to write a book was only fitting. Everyone should get a copy. Thank you. Thank you, Deborah Sneed. Kim Edmondson says voting turnout is the lowest I've ever seen it. Yeah, we have to, and I think, Kim, if I can speak to that for a moment, I think it's low because people are thinking this primary was just for the presidential to get to the presumptive nominees. Yeah. I'm trying to make sure I'm saying that right. And people are thinking nothing else is on the ballot. Well, in Ohio, I know the Olentangy school levy's on the ballot. I know in my area, I know that House representative is on the ballot. I know there's other measures that are on the ballot. I know there's some commissioners on the ballot. Y'all listen, more, just go. So what? So vote your voice. Let people know. Don't think that just because they now have the presumptive nominees, that it's over. There are other things on the ballot, but even if that's the only thing that's on the ballot, still go and still make your voice be heard. Kim Edmondson said, yeah, there's so much more on this ballot, y'all. When I looked at my sample ballot, I was like, my gosh, what is all on here? Which most of it you don't hear about because you're hearing about everything else. Y'all, seriously, go. Just go to ballotpedia.org and print out that sample ballot. Thank you for that. Devontae says, also, we need to help. Oh, thank you. Devontae says, also, we need to, let me pull it up. Help Gail at NMIM get to 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube so she can get monetized. She currently has 497. That is true. Thank you. Please keep subscribing to the YouTube. Please. Thank you so much, Devontae. Y'all, here's the Make a Difference. LLC, if you want to send a check to help us out any way, shape, or form you want to do that. Deborah Sneed, thank you again. Yes, get the book. You can go to my website, and again, it's going to be on Amazon later on this week. Now, it's only going to be hardback. I think I explained that to you already. I looked at it in paperback. No, the book is in hardback. Now, there will be a digital version as well, and that will get up on Amazon in a couple of weeks. But this week, the book will be up on Amazon. Lori says, that is a great message. I was just talking about that as I plan my 3 big events this year, and we're going to root for you for your events. Marion, I love as she comes and always put that information in there. Kim Edmondson says there's so much more on the ballot. Y'all, there's so much more on the ballot. Heather says a ton of local stuff here in Pickaway County. Y'all, that's Ohio as well. Devontae says we are in a historic battle for Franklin County prosecutor with 3 Black people running. So that's in Ohio as well. And y'all, if y'all have other areas, if anybody's in here from Florida, Arizona, what were my other places, please put your information up here too. Illinois, Kansas, and Ohio, we have all of them. Kim Edmondson says, right, Devontae, and nobody talking about that. Isn't it amazing how we don't do that? Latrice Jones says, Franklin County prosecutors on the ballot today. That's in Ohio, y'all. And then Lori says, I absolutely love the hardback. I do too. So listen, y'all, listen. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Listen, thank you for hanging out with me. We're just going to have fun this week. I hope y'all don't mind that. We're going to bring you news, but we're going to have fun this week because we're going to take a break again. Mark your calendar, May 4th. If you want to hang out with us in Central Ohio, do so. Hopefully people can come. We're going to have a great time having a book reading, conversation, and signing at Kennedy Cakes, downtown Central Ohio. Dave, I need to talk to you. For May 4th, hopefully you're in town. All right, y'all. Y'all know what I say, everyone. Stay well. And remember to make some bold moves. We're out.
News in motion.